What's up everyone? Welcome to the channel. I'm so excited to finally be on YouTube and do this long form content for you all. For those of you who are new here, my name is Jake. I'm a third-year medical student at the University of Queensland and I'm currently on my OBGYN rotation. I'm also studying for the Step 2 CK examination at the end of the year. Yeah, that's a lot of fun. But really, if you've been following me on my Instagram and TikTok, thank you so much for your support. We've grown over 2 million subscribers in the past year, which has completely blown my expectations. And so I'm glad you guys are loving my 30-second concept videos, my disease videos, a little bit into my day in the life, and some fun, relatable content. But really on YouTube here, I'm excited to dive into the longer form content, give you more details and insights into my study tips and study process, how I got into med school, how I prepared for the board exams, interview prep, all that good jazz. And so that being said, let's dive into a little bit about where I started and my journey thus far. So let's talk about my journey. Now I started med school back in January of 2022. It is crazy to think that it's been over 2 years since I was an M1, going into that lecture theater, anxious, stressed, overwhelmed, all the emotions you could think of, which are absolutely normal. It feels like that 4 years is never gonna come to an end. Believe me, it does, and I'm 2.5 years into this, and it blows by so quickly, so appreciate every moment, whether it's a great one or it's a tough one, because there will be ups and downs in med school. But really, my journey started then, and I'm in a 4-year MD program. So my first 2 years are based in the preclinical years, and then my last 2 years, which I'm in now, is my clinical years. So I'm on my OBGYN rotation. And really, I got into content just before I got into med school. So I learned a little bit about Instagram Reels and TikTok and different sounds, trends, all that good stuff. But it wasn't until I got into med school where I started experimenting with day in the life content, guess the disease content, sharing how I learned topics in 30 to 60 seconds. And so how MedSchoolBro came to be was honestly such an organic process of me posting all this type of relatable content, this educational content. And then over time, as I was doing more of the education style videos and prepping for my Step 1 exam, I thought there must be a way for me to package all of my educational tips and tricks, the way I'm visually explaining topics, into a concise resource, into a guide to deliver to students worldwide. And so that's what really inspired me to really start writing these books and making these books for med students to support their education worldwide. Since then, of course, I've done the cardiology guide, neurology, gastroenterology, endocrinology, MSK Derm very soon. I've done my OSCE book, I've done some clinical card sets, and now thousands of students around the world are also finding such use out of. So it's been honestly a blessing to be able to share and communicate my passion with the world and with med students. And not only that, just a couple weeks ago, we brought on a med school gal, and I'm super excited about that. As an M3, I'm very, very focused, of course, on USMLE Step 1 and Step 2 resources. And so the MCAT is something that I wrote 4 or 5 years ago now, but med school gal wrote it last summer. She scored in the top percentile. She shares such a similar vision to me with a very visual style of learning. And so on her page, we're really focused on MCAT prep, and stay tuned because our MCAT ChemPhys guide is just on its way. So really the mission of MedSchoolBro is to A, help you get into med school, help you get into residency, help you become the doctor that you aspire to be through supporting your interviews, your application prep, letters of recommendation, research. And my Discord community is honestly a really, really great starting point to support you along that journey. We have 2 great mentors, Fahad and Khalid, who just matched into dermatology and ophthalmology, who are great mentors, including myself, who are in the community to support you along every step of your journey. Now, secondly, is to prep you for your MCAT and your USMLE. They're both big beasts. No one loves studying for these, and so my goal is to make this as easy as possible for you to study for. Of course, I've packaged together some of my USMLE Step 1 notes. I'm doing that for MCAT with that med school gal, and I'm gonna continue to work on Step 2 CK content because I know so many of you are saying, Jake, there's so much Step 1 resources out there, but not a lot for Step 2. I've heard you. Don't worry, I'm gonna get to it. I just wanna make sure that I'm making the best possible resources from you, and I take a lot of time and care into making all these guides, and so I don't wanna rush anything. I wanna make sure the quality of this content and the guides is really 10 out of 10 to support you with these exams. But don't worry, more is coming. And the last part of my mission is really study and education. So sharing my study tips, study processes, study efficiency, and then also being able to dive into longer form educational content. I know on my Instagram and TikTok platforms, I can do up to 90 seconds of a topic, but on YouTube, I can obviously dive deeper into the pathophysiology and the connections between everything. And so I'm really, really looking forward to using this platform to take that education step to the next level. So now let's talk about the different forms of content I'll be posting here on my YouTube channel. The first is study tips and strategies. It's everything from how I study in med school to be on the Dean's List 2 consecutive years, study efficiency, how to optimize your environment and productivity, how to balance life outside of med school with med school. And so that's the kind of the first bucket. The second is exam preparation. So everything from how I curated an MCAT plan, how I curated a USMLE Step 1 and Step 2 plan, as well as how to just approach the exam, what to focus on, what things you should be building into your study system and environment, whether it be practice questions, Anki, revision of content, video learning. So we're gonna dive all into that as well. So as an M3 going through my clinical rotations, I definitely want to provide some insight into the different departments within the hospital, the different subspecialties, how to excel in your clinical environment. I remember my first rotation, which was pediatrics, and let me just tell you, getting thrown into the hospital environment for the first time is super overwhelming. New terms, new abbreviations, new processes, different ways and the team likes to interact with each other and work together. It's all a lot, and you can learn as much as you want from a book, but until you're thrown into the deep end, into the clinical environment, it's a completely different beast. It's really taking parts of what you've learned and applying it in a much broader way. And so in my vlogs, I'm definitely excited to share a lot about my clinical experience through rotations, but I'm also excited to give you guys some tips and tricks with lifestyle, balance, wellness, how to prioritize multiple things in med school, how to juggle multiple responsibilities. For me, as a med student, content creator, someone who prioritizes my physical health and exercise, there's obviously a lot that I have to prioritize. It's all about your mindset and what you're passionate about. I am super passionate, of course, about medical education and medicine. And so every day I wake up, whether I'm in a new clinic in the hospital or making a video for you guys, I'm excited because this is what I'm passionate about and this is what I do. And finally, on this channel, I'm gonna host guest collaborations, Q&As, and a way to really interact with you, interact with other educators, medical professionals, med students around the world. And so I'm really, really excited to have other faces on the channel, as well as to engage with you guys on lives and Q&A streams as well. So with that being said, thanks for watching this first intro video, my first really video sitting, with this setup. But what I want you guys to do is comment below what type of content you want to see from me, and I'll be responding to every single one. Before I go, there's one thing I gotta say: study smarter, not harder.